This was a very eclectic day. I got a lot done in the shop. I got a lot done on Karen's garden. We did a lot of planting. And a final thing, I got to go for a ride on the Mt09. What could be better? Now, today I don't know how the day is going to play out. It should be a very eclectic day. I pulled off the tire for the R1. I wanted to change the tire out. But then as the day went along and as I was doing other things out there, Karen wanted to go to the garden center and we got caught up in doing a lot of different things. And I still wanted to get a ride in the afternoon. So rather than make a full-length tire change video, I'm just going to put the highlights of things that I think will be helpful and some tips I've learned in the last couple days about our GoPro camera. And I'll put all those tips on, but I really want to head out for a ride while it's such beautiful weather. It promises to be in the high 60s today. Now, this is a little tip. I'm not sure I put this on in previous videos where we did a lot of tire changing videos. I'm not going to do one today. I wanted to put the Pirelli Angel on today, and because it's 40 degrees outside, I thought this would be a good day to swap the tire. Now, the tire was really cold when I brought it in, and I know you can do it with a hairdryer. I know you can do it with a heat gun. You can put it out on a sunny sidewalk. This is just one other way you can do it. Now, we have really hot water in this house. I filled up the sink and just keep rotating it, rotating it, rotating it. And in about 5 or 10 minutes, that tire, and it'll just make that getting it off the rim that much easier. And again, I've done so many of these videos. I know that people complain they're too long. I'm just trying to put the tips that I think are worthwhile on. Another really good tip that I have put on video many times on these tire changing videos that I make that are full length. Let that soak in. Warm the tire as much as you can. Right now, if you have a heat gun or a hairdryer, the warmer you make the tire, the easier it's going to be to get that off. Another good tip, I took the Motion Pro, the tool I used to break the bead, and there were some sharp edges on it. I just ground them off. It just likes a little less damage to the inside of the rim, and even if you damage the inside of the rim, it doesn't matter. In fact, it's almost a good thing that it gives the tire a better grip there. I've never had a problem with that, and we've done a lot of tires with this tool. So what I've been doing with this, that seems to work pretty well. Once I get it broken just a little bit, I put the Windex right down inside, let it drip down. It just makes breaking that bead easier, and anything you can do. But the biggest single thing you can do on any tire is just get it hot. So another useful tip for GoPro owners that are using a wind slayer, and you can see this one's pretty well used and abused. We got a lot of mileage. I'm going to have to get some new ones. But what had happened is in the course of moving things around, this had jumped up over the lens a little bit on that FCR video. So I put this O-ring in there to try to hold it in place, just an ordinary O-ring from the hardware store. And we'll see if that's an improvement. And maybe that's something you want to do before you miss some of your good footage when you're out on a ride with your friends. Hopefully they're all good, useful tips I'm putting on here in the beginning of the video. Now when I'm done with that tire, I already have the front Pirelli on. I'll have the two Pirelli Angels and see how that's going to play out. I don't know if I'm going to be happy with it, but Vlad has suggested that they work great on his collector bikes, his Bomotas and stuff, and he wanted to pass that on to me, that he gets really, really good mileage out of it. But I'm real happy with the way the 5s played out on the Mt09, and I don't think I'm going to be changing them, that's for sure, but unless I can get my hands on a set of 6s. Now, it's true, nothing makes a bike handle better than a new set of tires, that's for sure. Now, I've never had Pirelli Angels on any of the bikes. This is the first one, and it looks like it is a stiff carcass tire, boy. So I expect there'll be some change in handling, better or worse, I don't know. But I've had Michelin 2s, Michelin 3s, Dunlops, and this will round out my selection of tires. And we'll see what we can learn. If we learn anything, we'll pass it on. We still have to change the tires out on a Ninja. I wanted to put the Michelin 5s on that. And the FCR is coming up on a maintenance day. It's a wonderful day to be in a motorcycle business here, but every day is different. That's the way we like it. Now, we are in a time of year, and it's usually about a month, I call it the bug season, where you just can't keep the bugs off the front of the bike. Water-face shield and that cola that Michelle suggested I try. That seems to work well. The Meguiar's wax, it makes getting them off. I try to get them off at the end of the ride, but there's always some that I don't get off. Now this really was a beautiful weather-wise day, and I usually get started a lot earlier than this. We got started after a couple hours of work by the house, and the only problem with this time of the day is there's definitely more law enforcement, and that makes me happy. I have the Valentine. Early in the morning, not so much. Now, this was the first day that I really noticed, as I'm editing the video, just how much of the greenery is on the trees. It seemed like in the last week or so, it went from being almost naked trees to a little bit of leaves, and now we have a significant amount of leaves. Now, that always means we're going to have shade and sun as we're going into the sun. It is pretty funny. Some of the lakes in this area, and it's a lot of lakes in this whole area, that previous to this last month or so, they were ice fishing out there. Many times I stopped and took pictures of them ice fishing. Now, today, I think is the opening of the fishing season because they were lined up fishing many of the lakes. And every time I ride the MT09, every time, I come home thinking, why can't I get a quick shifter on all the bikes? But on the MT09, it's a plug and play. It's about a $125 option, and it is worth every penny. That is the fun factor. That's one of the reasons that this bike, I try to ride it at as many times as I can. Now this set of Michelin 5s that I have on there now, I hope I'm going to be able to get to a beginning and to an end test and make a recording of the mileage, etc. The first set of 5s that I had on here, they're going to be going on to the Ninja now, and we'll continue that test. We have 2 sets being tested. Now, one thing, the gas in our area is still, high test is still way over $5 a gallon. So having a bike that gets 50 miles to the gallon, and even more if you baby it, but then who would baby it? Take a bicycle if you want to baby it. Hey, the mirrors on this have worked out great. I love the polished, shiny look mirrors, and the visibility is better. And one of the things that's so desirable about the way this bike is set up, it's not set up for high RPM. It's set up for low-end torque. That's what MT is supposed to mean. And the power band Yamaha has come up with, I can't see any reason to change a thing. It's perfect. Now all the little details I've added, the windshield, the gloss black frame around the headlight, the scoops, the screening, the little pieces on the side of the frame, even the pieces in the rear foot peg, and painting the seat. All that adds up to a real nice look in my opinion. And the truth is, whenever you restyle a bike, customize it, make it your own, there's always that danger that at the end of spending hundreds of hours or a lot of money, you're not going to be satisfied. This bike is exactly the opposite. I've done it step by step, methodically, and with John Pothia's help with Photoshop, and I love it. Truly in the bug season right now. There's bugs on the headlight, bugs on the fairing. The bug season is here. Now I remember all the hours I spent on these wheels, but boy, when you put them out in the bright sun, you go for a ride, you find a tree, a nice flowering tree to take a couple pictures, or a lake or something, and the first thing catches my eye is how nice those wheels come out and how the silver and the blue complement each other. It just couldn't be any nicer to me. And once you get off the double yellow line roads that are perfectly smooth and usually excellent traction, then you get into these back roads where it is sandy and potholey and everything, and that's when this turns into a little bit of an adventure. And the MT09 always handles it well. So this was one of the days I actually pitched a no-hitter. Now I always keep track of how many traffic lights I hit and that I have to actually stop for. And there were about 3 or 4 on the whole ride. And I made it through every one of them without having to stop and put my feet on the ground. That's like pitching a no-hitter in Yankee Stadium. Now, one thing that I love about this bike, because I have to go through some populated areas
and I don't like to give the law enforcement an early warning. The exhaust on this bike, when you're riding it, has the most pleasant sound, not irritating, you don't get a headache, and you don't tell people you're coming down the road. And even a beautiful, beautiful day like today, after 3 or 4 hours, 3.5 hours, it has to come to an end. And that's when you start to appreciate that ride home. The seat is still comfortable. The bars aren't crazy where you get a neck ache or a back ache. And you get home and you know Karen's going to want to go shopping at the garden center. And you'll still have plenty of energy instead of having a backache. And
I'm ready for lunch on the porch and then off to the garden center. You like that, huh? More garden center today. Hey, we had a great ride. We got a tire change. Oh, what's not to like?
And I always enjoy a day when I get a lot of stuff done in a lot of different areas.
We really took advantage of this day. We really got things done. And of course, we still have to go to the garden center. So, the life of a farmer. What can I say? Anyway, Mt09, always fun to ride. Always, you really get your money's worth for that 50 miles to the gallon, too. It's really, really a fun bike to ride. And I did have fun today. And I hope you did enjoy sharing this little adventure with us.
Now, Steve asked me to lower the sound on the ending of the video, which I did. I want to see if this is acceptable to Steve, especially, who requested it. I cranked it down, but let's see if this works for you, Steve. Let me know. Now, the reason I ask is because the sound, when I'm editing, the sound is coming out of this big screen TV, the big monitor, 47-inch, whatever it is, and I don't get a real true feeling for the sound, when it gets a little louder or a little softer. It's set at a certain position in the edit program. But anyway, anybody needs a little adjustment like that, I'll be glad to make it. And Steve, thank you for the feedback. Anyway, we hope you did enjoy, again, our little adventure. This bike is just a hoot to ride. And guys, one and all, thank you so much for watching.